The Garfield movie. Now, would I be lying to you if I told you that I was over the moon hyped for this movie? Well, yes, but it's not a movie that I was particularly insane about, but when I heard that they were making a Garfield movie after so long, I was kind of interested. I mean, I had watched the old Garfield show back in the early 2010s, and actually, pretty good. To be fair, I would take anything over the live-action Garfield movies.
Was on Monday.
And when I heard it was animated, I was pretty hyped. And then we got our first little poster, and it looked great. And what? Chris Pratt is voicing Garfield? Oh, this is certainly gonna be something. Okay, so the Garfield movie has just released about a day ago, and, well, for some people there was an early screening, so I had to kind of avoid spoilers, but, I mean, this is one of the movies that got to have a fight happen during the movie, so this movie must be something if we really had to have a fight during the Garfield movie, of all things. So, first of all, this movie had an insane marketing campaign. It wasn't anything grand like Barbie or anything, but they had such clever posters that it just kept going. It was honestly impossible not to know that this movie was happening. Like, they had posters for Deadpool, they had posters for Dune, they even had posters for the competition that came out the same day, being Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, or how they like to call it, Furiosa. Get it? Cause it's a... I'm sorry. And then the movie came out for some critics and... Now, when I first saw this, I really was questioning what could possibly piss someone off about a Garfield movie of all things. From the trailers, it looked fine. I'm kinda happy that they took the animation straight from the comics and obviously the other source material from Garfield. Like, it kinda reminds me of the Peanuts movie and Captain Underpants. Just with this one, it's just, a more tolerable version of the character with their voice. I mean, you got George and Harold. Peak casting. The Peanuts cast, not a single flaw with this. And then you have Chris Pratt as Garfield. At this point, it's Hollywood, so I can't even not expect this at this point. But for what it was worth, Garfield's portrayal in this movie was fine. Chris Pratt, I would say, he did a better job here than he did with Mario. Not that his portrayal in the Mario movie was bad, I just think his voice fits a little better here than it did with that movie, and it kinda goes all over the place. Does the movie really deserve the bashing it's getting? No, not really, and here, I'll explain it. Put it bluntly, the movie plays it safe when it comes to just being a Garfield movie. But these reviews are straight up just tearing the movie apart. Like, these critics were walking up to the Garfield movie expecting Spider-Verse. Like, Jesus Christ, who put glass in your cereal before coming to this movie? By the hours, this movie is getting close to Megamind 2 numbers, and no, this movie is nowhere near that. But the movie itself, a lot of the complaints coming from it is that it's pretty basic as, an animated movie. But, for a Garfield movie, I guess they took the liberties of somewhat making it creative. Like, a heist movie and Garfield are not two things you would put together, but here, they kinda made it work. I mean, one thing I noticed about this movie that I actually thoroughly enjoyed is how, slapstick comedy it kinda is. You really don't see that in animated movies a lot, kind of like Looney Tune bashing each other when characters get hurt, they, turn into plates, they get smushed and everything. I actually did really like that. You rarely see that nowadays in 3D animation, and they took the liberties of doing that. So, I respect that. A lot of people also, before going for this movie, also heard that the people that worked on Nimona were working on this movie, so I guess that got a lot of people hyped. When I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense for the animation. But they were expecting Nimona out of the Garfield movie. And did they deliver that? No. But you shouldn't be expecting that either. Okay, there is a nice story in the middle of the movie with Garfield and his father. I feel like that whole plot line was built up pretty well and, didn't feel rushed. As for the movie's runtime, 1 hour and 40 minutes, that's very rare for animated movies now. Everyone wants to get that 90 minutes done. But with this movie, it kind of goes straight into what the plot is trying to be in like the first 15 minutes. Not a lot of movies do that. We meet his father very early, we meet the main villain very early in this movie. So I honestly was worried that the pacing was going to be pretty fast in this movie. And if anything, it was a little slow. Honestly, it was kind of weird. With a heist movie, you'd expect it to be fast-paced, but they took it a little slow in some parts of the movie. But when it actually gets to the action and the heist, it does it well. As for the villain of this movie being Jinx, what can I say about her? Well, she at least has a better backstory than the chameleon. That's all I could really say. I liked the little gems that she had on her neck, and they would change colors to certain moods that she would have. That was kind of cool. But as for her character herself, will she be remembered? Probably not. I don't see many people remembering this villain after watching the movie. As for the two minions that she had in the movie, those might be a little memorable than the actual villain herself. They did have some good moments in the movie, but another complaint I saw with this movie is that they said it felt like a commercial just featuring Garfield and nothing else, and I disagree on that. Yes, there is some product placement in the movie, and yes, you're just gonna get that from animated movies, but it's not all over the place that they're just referencing company by company. Yes, Olive Garden is in there. Yes, at the beginning of the movie, they reference like every dating app ever, but it's to the point where it's like Sonic level product placement. Not too bad, but it's there. As for the comedy in the movie, it's like, I wouldn't say that it's gonna be complete silence while you're watching the movie. It'll get the kids laughing, obviously. But as for like the other jokes, not really. It kind of goes very basic with the jokes. Honestly, the most laughs that I got from it was probably from Garfield's dad, John, when he was having his whole side plot of trying to find Garfield and basically how our modern society treats finding people and finding pets and everything. That little side plot was actually funny and actually got a good few laughs out of me. There was another side plot involving this character named Otto that's been locked out of the dairy place, and he's trying to rekindle his love, and that kind of disappears for half the movie, and then it just comes back, and that was something. I mean, I guess the ending of that side plot was probably really surprising for some people, but it was eh. Side plots in this movie were just there, but it really didn't have any substance to the movie. I liked Otto as a character, though. I was like 10 minutes into hearing his voice, and then I realized he's the Arby's guy. Arby's, we have the meats! I'm never doing that again, I'm sorry. There was this security office character that, as soon as I saw her, she immediately reminded me of the cop from The Bad Guys. I'm not sure if I can really play footage of her, but once you see it, you'll pick up on the vibes of it. But as the movie as a whole, I see the criticism there, and I agree on it. It's a very basic movie. The movie plays it safe as being a Garfield movie. I mean, it's not anything like extravagant, it's not gonna blow your mind, and probably for some people, yeah, as soon as you walk out the theater, you'll probably forget about this movie's existence like a few months later. The climax of the movie was fun. I did like the heist aspects of the movie. That was creative and well done. But overall, it's not like an insane movie, and I see a lot of people saying that, oh, it's just the most basic animated movie ever, and I can see why people are saying that, but it's not the worst animated movie of the year. That crown has been taken a long time ago. So all the people on YouTube saying that the Garfield movie is the worst piece of media ever, it's the thing that made me lose faith in humanity, they're treating this movie like it's like honestly a hate crime that this movie's been made. And I'm glad that at least the audience score is at least giving it some life, because that nasty splat was going on for an entire week, and everyone was just wondering, what the hell happened with this movie? It couldn't have been that bad. and after seeing it, it's not bad, it's just okay. It plays it safe, it's not an insane movie. It's not a movie I would necessarily say you must need to see in theaters, but it's a movie that, you know what, if you're slightly interested in this movie, I think you'll find some enjoyment. It's a Garfield movie after all. Nobody in their right mind should be going to the Garfield movie thinking they're gonna get some of the best piece of cinema they've ever been given. In my eyes, it's basic, but that's not a bad thing when you're going with this franchise after all. And I think everyone can agree they would prefer this over the live-action Garfield movies. And for some reason, the producer of this movie liked my tweet about the movie. I don't know how I feel about that. He instantly liked it. I don't know. It's never happened before, so that genuinely, I blanked out for a second when I saw that. But anyways, if you've seen the Garfield movie, what did you think of it? I'm generally curious for a lot of people's opinions on this movie, because a lot of people are tearing this movie apart, and a lot of people are just giving it, yeah, it's okay, but, it could have been a little better. I think it's just okay, it's basic. Maybe you could have given a more little oomph to the movie, but I think it was fine. Let me know down in the comments, and I will catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.